Opponents, judges, classmates, Mr. Redican, Mrs. Thompson, and guests, my name is Alec Snyder, and along with my partner, Cooper Tolan, we proudly represent the negative side of today's debate concerning condom availability in public secondary schools. As the affirmative has already told you, the resolution of today's debate is resolved that all public secondary schools should devise and enact a plan to make condoms readily available to its students. We as the negative fully contest this resolution and strongly disagree with the sentiment for which it argues. The negative believes that there is a more effective means through school than making condoms available to students, which Cooper will touch on later in our counterclaim. In the meantime, the negative will also define some terms which comprise today's resolution. Dictionary.com defines public school as a school that is maintained at public expense for the education of the children of a community or district, and that constitutes a part of a system of free public education, commonly including primary and secondary schools. Secondary school is defined as a high school or school of corresponding grade, ranking between a primary school and a college or university. Devise means to contrive, plan, or elaborate, and enact means to make into an act or statute. Condom is defined as a thin sheet, usually a very thin rubber, worn over the penis during sexual intercourse to prevent conception or sexually transmitted disease. And finally, readily available means easily obtainable. We, the negative, are firmly against the resolution because condoms are currently readily available, teens are not fully aware of the methods and functions of condoms, and it is not the role of public secondary schools to make condoms available to their students. Condoms should not be made readily available by schools because they are already readily available elsewhere. While the affirmative may have you believe otherwise, this is a basic principle. All drugstores and pharmacies, such as CVS, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, carry condoms in their stores. What's more is that condoms themselves aren't even that expensive. CVS sells a 3-pack of condoms for as low as $5, as does Rite Aid. And Walgreens sells individual condoms for just $1.50 each. Rarely does it occur that a person or family is not able to afford even one condom for as low a price as $1.50. But even those who cannot afford this price can visit clinics such as Planned Parenthood facilities and receive a condom for free. Additionally, there is no age restriction or necessary prescription to obtain a condom. This means that any individual, whether 8 years old or 80, can simply stroll into a drugstore and purchase a condom or condoms, no questions asked. Whether or not it's right for an 8-year-old to purchase a condom is a different debate in itself. But the fact of the matter is that a child at such a young age has the full capability to buy condoms. They are cheap and abundant most everywhere. This idea of making condoms readily available is the status quo. So where is there a need for change? Even if the affirmative's supposed creation of more readily available condoms held some merit, teens are nevertheless unknowledgeable about condom use. Most American teenagers are unaware as to how and why to use a condom properly. While I'll save the latter for your health class or parent instruction, the problem is that teens are only taught the basics for using a condom and what the condom can actually prevent. Sure, condoms prevent pregnancy and the transmission of sexually transmitted diseases, but only to a certain extent. According to the Guttmacher Institute, 13 to 24-year-olds make up 17% of the United States' HIV/AIDS population. And while 15 to 24-year-olds only account for 1/4 of the sexually active population in the United States, almost half of the nearly 19 million cases of STDs every year involve someone in this age group. Vaginal sex is not the only outlet for this, however. Other sexual activities, such as anal sex, oral sex, and even kissing, are big reasons for why STDs continue to spread. In fact, the National Center for Health Statistics reported that slightly more than half of teenagers between the ages of 15 to 19 have engaged in oral sex. And while it may not be possible to become pregnant from oral sex, STDs are still transmissible, and a condom cannot prevent this due to its limitation to only intercourse. Diseases such as gonorrhea, syphilis, herpes, and HPV, or the human papillomavirus, have all been found to be a result of oral sex. And if teens are not educated, the prevalence of STDs will only continue to spread despite a decline in vaginal sex and the lowest teen pregnancy rates in 3 decades. As a result of these factors, our third contention is that education is the only way to ensure that America's teenagers will be smart in their participation in sexual activity and intercourse. But I will leave this contention for Cooper to elaborate on in just a little bit. In brief, abstinence education is not the answer. Being straightforward with teens about the details and dangers of sex is. Public secondary schools will send the wrong message to students by making condoms readily available. If these schools do make condoms available, they are essentially promoting and condoning sexual activity despite what the affirmative may tell you. Educating teenagers about condoms and STDs is the answer, so they know what and what not to do with a condom during sexual activities. Cooper will furthermore introduce this contention and apply it to our counterpoint in his speech. Do not allow STDs to spread any more than they have to. Education will lead to eradication. Thank you, and please vote negative.